Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, hello, whatever time it is with you and wherever you are. Thank you for downloading this SmackDown review as part of the WWE podcast. As always, it's an absolute pleasure to have you listening along once again. I am Amanda, your host of the SmackDown review. And as you know, I've been incommunicado for a couple of weeks with some horrible internet issues, but here I am back. I didn't speak to you guys since the Royal Rumble, so let me just really quickly give you my review of that. What a load of old shite that was. Precisely 0 returns in the men's, and the big return in the women's, Brie Bella. Honestly, I've got no words that aren't sweary. That said, I've got no issues with the actual winners of the two Rumbles, just that both the matches sucked. I hated it in Saudi. Just blur. AJ is retired, and it seems that's that, which also sucks. Everything else went pretty much to script as expected. As for my rating for this, it would be a D-, and that is really mostly just that they've got on planes and made the effort to go all the way over there because it was just awful. Right, let's get to it and review this SmackDown that aired February 20th from Fort Lauderdale. And Joe Tess opens the show. We've got Rhea with EO backstage. They walk past the box that appeared on Raw this week. Now, bets for who is in the box? Well, obviously someone who is appearing or coming back at Elimination Chamber. I want to say Jericho or someone huge, but once, twice, 3 times bitten shy. I fear it will just be someone random from the indies that we've never heard of, or someone from NXT. So let's not get too excited. Remember when Triple H said the Rumble was going to be epic, and it was shite. So yeah, let's just all remember that. Anyway, Rhea faces Julia tonight, and we've got Kianna James in a qualifying match with Nia, whose reputation for the worst botcher in WWE ever just grows and grows and grows, right? And she's with Charlotte in that match as well. We see Bliss and Flair arrive with a super cute dog. Mello, Priest and Williams in a qualifying match on the men's side for Chamber 2. First out tonight, we get Cody. He says, what do you want to talk about? And before anything can happen, we get Jacob Fatu coming out, and he makes his way to the ring. Fatu tells Cody, let's keep it 100. He says he wouldn't be out here speaking about Chamber if it wasn't for Drew. He says he and Sammy both had him beat last week, and he was walking out with the win. He says you know it. He says his concern isn't about Cody right now. He says his concern is about Drew McIntyre. He tells Drew to bring his punk ass out here so he can dog walk him. Instead of Drew, though, we get Nick. He says he's right to feel like he does, but he had a feeling this would happen, so he's already given Drew the night off. He says he didn't want to, but there is so much at stake he can't take unnecessary risks. He says this is Cody's mic time, so why don't they go to Nick's office and they can discuss it. We then hear Drew's voice, and he is in like an executive box miles away from the ring. He says to Nick, I appreciate the night off, but I'm champion and I do what I want. He says he loves SmackDown, so he bought himself the entire suite to watch the show from. He says to Fatu that he heard him running his mouth. He says he's right here, so why doesn't he go up and get him? We then get security doing a comedy stop to try and stop Fatu getting there. He pretty much beats them all up. Eventually Nick gets in the way, tells him to calm down. Nick tells the security to get rid of Drew, and Nick takes Fatu away to talk about him getting his hands on Drew. We then get Drew saying the whole world is against me because I'm champ. He says everyone wants to be me because I'm champ. Cody, yes, he is still just standing in the ring like a lemon. He tells Drew, the whole world's not after you because you're a champ. They're after you because you're an asshole. Okay, so thoughts on this opening segment. First up, I don't like Drew as champ. Never have, never will. He can't do anything to make me like him or this run. He just isn't my cup of tea. I don't buy him. Now, when I heard Cody's music here, I thought, geez, here we go with another Cody promo, blah, blah, blah. But having Fatu interrupt him was genius. And he doesn't have to say a lot on the mic. He's very over, and the angle with Fatu and Drew, now that's one I can get on board with. I would love to see Fatu with the belt, and I would love it to be Fatu who dethroned Drew. The sooner the better, and hopefully that does come around soon. I like they gave Cody the last word, and he did, to be fair to him, deliver a killer line to Drew. So all in all, not a bad start to tonight's show. Next we go backstage. Ilya is saying to Melo, "You are US champ, you are him, and if you shoot you don't miss." He says you're going to qualify and you're going to the chamber and then to Mania. Ilya says the only thing that won't happen is you won't walk into Mania as US champ. So this is a bit weird. Now Ilya is Melo's hype man, but fine, okay, whatever. We have Ilya in a match now, and he faces Tama Tonga. Before we get that though, we get Fatu backstage with Nick. Nick is telling him to calm down. He is saying, how long did it take us both to get here? He says, be patient, he'll give him Drew. He says he needs him to wait. Fatu says he isn't going to wait much longer, and he seems to head out of the arena. We then have the MFTs. They all come out with Tama Tonga, and they still have that lamp. I'm not sure it will have much effect on Ilya, but anyway, we continue to push that angle. This one kicks off, and Ilya is out of the gates quick, but Tonga fighting back. This is off to a very quick and intense start with these two. Comms making sure they mention plenty of times that the MFTs are all at ringside, and what must Ilya's mindset be like knowing they're there. Ilya isn't doing too bad so far, and in the early stages at least, no interference, but I fear it's coming. Ilya is busted open as he took one to the nose. We then finally get the anticipated distraction. First of all from Tonga lower, but Ilya manages to hit a senton from the top rope. Despite that, we get another distraction from JC, and then again from Tonga lower. This allows Tama Tonga to finally hit the cutthroat and get the win. The win, though, to pretty much silence, and I'm not convinced the crowd were even watching the match at this point. It was that quiet. We then get Solo on the mic. He says, "You all thought I was playing." He tells the crowd to quiet down. I mean, he shouldn't have bothered. They were cricket-like quiet anyway. He says he's got the tag titles. This is his show. We then get a pretty brave attack from behind by Ilya, which does shut him up, thankfully. But soon Ilya is overwhelmed, and this brings out a face train to try and save Ilya. Eventually, this leads us on to a Wyatt 6 Spooky Wiki promo. Howdy says it's clear you use your family as a crutch. He says if you are the shining light, it's time to show everyone you can stand on your own. Howdy says the next time he comes to the ring, he will be alone, and he's going to expose all of Solo's insecurities. He says the only question is, will he show up? So, in my opinion, I think they need to position this one with Solo coming out to face Howdy with no help from the MFTs. I think the crowd are so far from behind or even interested in the MFT, and I think that's because all of their wins are assisted by one or the other or all of them, and ultimately it just makes them look weak. If they do book it so Solo is solo, so to speak, against Howdy and he gets the win, well, that could do wonders for the MFTs. Otherwise, I fear for their future. On the other hand, a loss wouldn't do Howdy or the Wyatts much harm, as they are so over, and they will always be, no matter what anyone says or thinks. They are special to the WWE fans and fan base because of the Bray link, and that is never going to change. We then go backstage where Drew is approached by Nick, who says to him, "So, mister, I'm going to do what I want. What are you going to do now?" Drew tells him to relax. He was having fun. Nick tells him, "I can't have fun. I can't relax. You crossed the line." He says, "Keep testing me and I'll show you what I can do." Drew leaves and tells him to relax. We then get Byron backstage. He's got Randy with him. He asks how he feels about the competition for Chamber. Randy says that the stakes are high, and you saw what just happened with Drew. He goes on to start talking about Cody, but then Zelina shows up, and yes, you heard me right, Zelina. She cuts in on Randy's promo and says that it's almost like they predicted this would happen. She says, "You know there is only one road left for you to take." Black appears and says there was a time when the locker room feared Randy and they wouldn't be able to get this close to him. He says, "Where is that man?" He says he thinks that we should poke around in his head a bit and see. Randy tells him the only version of him he needs to kick his ass is the one he's talking to right now. And he says he's going to go talk to Aldous and he'll see him in the ring. Black says something about he's got a shovel that he's going to dig everything back up. So, look, I totally get that there is an element of filling and making crap up that isn't really there at this time of year, as there will be certain storylines that are locked in, and there's the others, in air quotes, that are just kind of treading water. Perhaps they don't have that much direction at the moment. But no, I'm not having Zelina messing with Randy and by association Black. Just, it doesn't work for me. Byron now has Nia and Lash, who once again look mad at having to be interviewed despite standing there waiting to be interviewed. Let's not go there again. Nia says we don't have time for this. She says she's going to win the qualification match. The next week they're taking the tag titles. Lash says they are coming for it all and that they're running the women's division. I'm not buying these two still. The sooner Lash drops Nia, the better. Now our champ, Jade. And honestly, what the hell has happened to our women's division? It's going to absolute poop, with Cargill basically squashing Jordan Grace last week. I hate it. Jade has the mic. She says she isn't going to tell us again. She defends the title on her time. She says Jordan's best wasn't good enough. She says everyone is loud online, but when they step to her, they are all fools. She says she knows Liv is making her decision this week on Raw, and she'll be there. She says whether it's her or whoever comes out of Chamber, come Mania, she is coming out as champion, because guess what, everyone? She's still that bitch. So, I don't know about you guys, and I know things are slightly different on TV to live, and if anyone was there live, I'd be really interested to hear your opinions, but have you guys ever heard a more muted response to a champion? Not boos, not cheers, just we couldn't really care less. Like, literally, they're probably all in the queue for merch and hot dogs at this point. I've never heard anything like it. The crowd just aren't into her. Her promo was poor. She stumbled over more than a few words. Let's just get to Mania and let's have the belt off her, please. I don't even care who it goes to at this point. Literally anybody would be better than her. I'm sorry, but Jade sucks, and WWE have made a massive error putting this belt on her. We then get Flair coming out for her match, and they have a little face-off on the ramp. Jade's trying to be the big I am to Flair is like, what? Even Com said the one-time champ Jade and the 14-time champ Flair. It's like, whatever. Flair still over as hell, making her way out for her Chamber qualifier against Nia and Kianna. This one kicks off. Kianna getting dismissed by Flair and Jax, and we are leaning into their history, which is fine by me. Kianna makes the big mistake of trying to buddy up with Jax, and quickly gets her ass handed to her. As Flair gets put down with a headbutt, followed by the same for Kianna. Jax in control. This is an okay match, and it winds up with some blatantly spectacular shot calling from Jax, with Kianna down and out. Flair goes for the figure eight on Jax, but Kianna slides in with what looks like the most messy and contrived finish I've seen in a long time. She muscles Flair's shoulders down and takes the win. No, not takes, is handed the win. What the actual? Joe Tess says Kianna James's breakthrough moment. No kidding. I literally have no words. We then go backstage to Io and Rhea with Byron. They look as shocked as I feel. He asks them their thoughts on Kianna. Rio says, what an upset. I mean, understatement of the night. And on Monday, Io will win her qualifier. Byron asks them about their title defence next week, and Rhea says they know how to deal with pressure, and Jax and Lash don't stand a chance. Now, let's just hope against hope that that is true. I do not want to see these title belts on Jax and Lash. Next up, we've got Kit Wilson versus Obafemi with a ref that I haven't seen before. Maybe a call-up from NXT, or maybe I just haven't been paying that much attention, but I don't think I've seen her before. I predict this will be an absolute and quick squash as WWE continue to push Femi massively, and he's very over with the crowd with his little dance en route to the ring. And I think this is they've done a good job with him. Before we get started, we've got Kit Wilson reading a poem at ringside. Femi says that's nice and tells Kit to read another. He reads one about hating men, and this is totally cringeworthy and just awful. I would like to pull out my own eyes and pull off my ears rather than watch this nonsense. Finally, the match gets underway as Femi loses his rag and just absolutely decimates Kit Wilson, delivering Fall from Grace, and we are done. Femi takes the win in probably under 2 minutes. Predictable and okay. I don't mind. Femi is shaping up pretty good. And feeding him Kit is okay by me, especially if they continue with this absolute BS of reading out poetry and crap at ringside. We go backstage where Nick is now wondering what's in the box, and we get Truth. He says that's a major award. He says he's won many of them. Nick tells the backstage person to send the box back to Raw. If it was me, I was GM of SmackDown or Raw, I'd just open the box. I know that's not the story they're going for, but in normal life, wouldn't we just open the box? We'd open the box, right? Priest says that he appreciates the opportunity to main event Mania, which is a very random and throwaway comment. And we've now got Tiffy coming out, and she's in a match with Alba Fire. Comms selling Chelsea Green's what I believe to be a real-life broken ankle. I saw some stuff on social media. Looks pretty real and telling us that it was Tiffy's fault. I like this, using something real and weaving it into the storylines has always been the essence of where we get the best WWE storytelling from. This one kicks off with the crowd 100% behind Tiffy. She makes a strong start, goes pretty much to script. This one ends predictably with a Tiffy win. She hits the prettiest moonsault and gets the pin. I don't want to say that Tiffy is literally the saviour of the women's division on SmackDown, but it does feel a little bit like that at the moment. We now get Cody backstage. He tells Sammy that he's got nothing to be ashamed of. Sammy says he knows, and if anyone should be ashamed, it's him, as in Cody. He says Drew interfered and Sammy stepped in to stop Cody getting beat down, and all he did was hit him with a crossroads for the win and gets a spot in Chamber. Now, I mean, Sammy makes an excellent point. Cody says that's his perspective and it was just an opportunity Cody took. He says Sammy hasn't taken advantage of any of the opportunities he's ever had, and that's why he'll never become champion. Sammy says it's easy when you're Golden Boy, who has everything handed to him to be QB1. Again, he makes an excellent point. It's hard to disagree with him. He says Cody has no idea what it's like. Cody tells him it isn't everyone else's problem, it's Sammy's problem, and he leaves. Sammy throws his toys out the pram. We get Trick Williams approaching, telling Sammy with friends like Cody who needs enemies. He says that he is going to do something tonight that Sammy couldn't, and that's get the job done. Sammy then apologises to Cody, and he says he was right about everything. Sammy asks Cody to remember he helped him when he becomes champion again. Now, you could hear the crowd boo like hell as well. Really, really booed when Sammy apologised to Cody, and I did too, internally, obviously. I thought we maybe were getting a Sammy turn and him to go a little bit crazy, which would have been a lot of fun. Maybe we will. Maybe that's not an avenue that's blocked off, but thought we were going one way and we took a massive swerve there. Next up in the ring, it's Trick, Melo and Priest for a spot in Chamber. This should be a more than decent match. All these three are great athletes, and that's just how it starts off, fast and furious with some great moves. We get some furious action and some close pins, each broken up by one or other of the men involved here. This one ends though with Trick hitting 2 trick shots in a row on Priest and taking the win in what was a really good match. and a little bit of a surprise in Victor, but I guess not massively. Melo was never winning as US champ. I would have loved to see Priest getting another push, but Trick as winner and a spot in Chamber is all good. Let's see what they do with it in terms of storyline. We go backstage again to the bloody box, and this time we've got Los Garzas, hands up, who else forgot they were still around, and the rest of the tag division tapping on the box and trying to listen, and we've got Johnny Gargano laying on top of the box, and Nick says, "I'm a GM, you need a psychiatrist for him," which is a good line. We get Jordan Grace approach, and she wants to talk to Nick, and Candice gets the hump with getting interrupted, and they have some verbal handbags, and because of that, Nick makes a match next week between them, which should be fun. Not sure what the angle is here, with Johnny going a bit crazy, but let's see how it plays out, I guess. Now we are out with our next match, and this one is Julia versus Rhea. Before that, we have our champ backstage. Always, when I refer to Jade, imagine me doing air quotes around the word champ, with Michin and B-Fab. Michin says, "Did you forget you injured me?" She has a kendo stick and tells Jade she's going to bruise her pride and take her title. So we do seem to be continuing with this B-card title push, which is weird and rubbish. We have got a mid-card title on the brand with the US title for the women. Why on earth we are getting Jade involved with the main title, with, no offence, people like Michin and B-Fab, who really have no right to be anywhere near the main card title, is honestly baffling, and I'm not sure where they're going with it. The match kicks off, and we've got Julia trying to come out strong, but honestly that's never going to work against Rhea, and Rhea is absolutely mullering Julia. But then we do get Julia getting Rhea outside the ring and getting some offense in at last. Rhea lands a headbutt and goes for Riptide. Just as she's about to hit it, we get Lash and Nia involved, causing a DQ finish and beating down Rhea until Io comes out to even things up, and she is out to an absolutely humongous pop of the night as the tag champs stand tall and clear the ring. I thought this one was a shame that it was interfered with, but to be fair, at least there was a reason for this one, as Nia and Lash have their title match next week, so I guess that's progression of that storyline at least. And I think it was pretty nailed on that otherwise Rhea was never going to lose to Julia. We go backstage where we have Femi apparently leaving the building. He's approached by Miz, and I guess Femi is the next new superstar that he wants to hitch his wagon to. He says to Femi that was an impressive showing tonight. He says he is a Mania main eventer waiting to happen. And he says that as he is the locker room leader, it's his responsibility to nurture the next generation. And he does this through his three core values: master, inspire, and zone in. He offers to show him the ropes. Femi says, "Great, show me next week." And he's going to go speak to Aldous about it. So it looks like we're going to get Miz versus Femi next week. And I predict that Miz will be the next star that is fed to him. And that is absolutely fine by me. We go backstage again, and we've got Bliss telling Flair that she doesn't need to be upset that she's not in Chamber. And Flair says that she isn't. She says that she doesn't want to leave her best friend to do Chamber by herself. Flair says she isn't upset. Then Kianna comes along and takes the mickey out of them for being codependent and saying that they're best friends, which is very cute. But the two of them, as in Kianna and Julia, are the most powerful duo on the roster. Bliss tells them to prove it, and Julia screams in her face. So not sure what is happening there. It doesn't seem like we've progressed very much down the storyline of the Flair and Bliss breakup, and that's okay. I don't mind if they stay together for however long. As you know, I really like them as a duo. I'm not sure. Again, this is like the Royal Rumble syndrome of just declaring it. That if you just say you're the most powerful duo on the roster, is that just a fact? Is that just how it is? There's no basis for that. But there we go. So once again, they don't seem to be doing massive amounts with Julia. But let's give it some time to brew, I guess. Next up, we've got our main event, which is another one of those mythical main events made on the night. So I don't know what the main event was meant to be before this was, but there we go. This is Randy versus Aleister Black, and this one kicks off, and there is no doubt who the crowd are 100% behind. I'm wondering if this will develop along the Priest-Black storyline, where Black tries to get into Randy's head, and we do end up with Randy punting Black's head off. I hope so. We get some ringside shenanigans from Zelina distracting Randy, allowing Black into the match for the first time. Black scuppers the RKO attempt to the disgust of the crowd, and plenty of boos there for that. Randy, though, hits a draping DDT on the outside of the ring and looks to be about to finish things off when we get bloody Drew out to lump Randy in the face with the belt. He's chased off by Cody. In the ring, Black hits Black Mass and takes the win again to absolute crickets in the crowd. We end up with Randy down in the ring, Drew smugly looking on, and Cody looking slightly confused by everything. So tonight's episode, and I am aware I sound like a right moaning McMoans a lot, but I am unhappy. First, Drew, well, I hate it. If is being booked to someone who, it's like he's being booked to someone he knows he can't hold on to his title anywhere near legitimately. And I know he's a heel and that's the point, but I'm just saying it's crap. I hate it. Then we've got the absolute cluster, that's the women's division, with a couple of exceptions being Jordan Grace, Flair, Bliss, Tiffy. What are they doing? Jade as champ is an absolute bust. They've got to get that belt off her ASAP. She is awful. Couple of good points. Obviously, the opening segment, some of the promos are good. Like what they're doing with Fatu, like the potential of Sammy going absolutely crazy. So some good points, but all in all, tonight's show, a C at best. Let's get on to Chamber, then let's get on to Mania, and let's just get this done. I think we need a refresh. Are we going to get a draft or a superstar shake-up this year? I think we need to do something. And I do worry about the women's division here on SmackDown. So that just does it for this week's show. Thanks for having me in your ears once again. And remember, until next time, to be kind.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show. Or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.